ladies and gentlemen, filmmakers and moviegoers alike, welcome to this week's episode of Code for Casual. I'm your host, Srekcuf5, and joining me as always is DorkyDev. Say hi, Dev.
Sup?
I'm doing alright. So how are you doing today overall? Things good?
Yeah, things are good.
That's good. Anything you want to discuss before we start talking about these movies?
No.
No?
I think we're good. Happy MLK Day, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope everyone's having a good day. That it's fine for the most part, but whatever. Alright, so let's get in here and let's start talking about what we're doing this week. This week I have called us the Tactical Review Team. Because this is how we review movies, This is how you review a movie.
I said we were bad hosts for life.
That's pretty close. So yeah, we're going to talk about Bad Boys, made in 1995. We're going to talk about Bad Boys 2, which I don't know the date of off the top of my head.
That would be 2003.
Thank you. And then we're going to talk about Bad Boys for Life, which came out 2020?
2020.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah. And then we're going to end it all with the news and wrap up. So, unless you got anything to talk about here, I think we're ready to get hopping and talking. Yeah.
What you want? What you gonna do?
Alright. Let's just get in here. Let's start talking about Bad Boys.
Bad Boys. So, Bad Boys had a estimated budget of $19 million. With a I'm doing gross, right? Gross U.S.
Yeah.
I think. With a gross U.S. opening weekend of $15.5 million opening weekend, which is pretty good. You pretty much made everything you spent on the on the regular budget. Which, by the way, fun fact about this movie I learned by watching Kind of Funny and their facts section that Tim Getty does. So thank you for this, Tim Getty. This cool little nugget is that the Porsche in this film is actually Michael Bay's Porsche, because they couldn't afford the studio wouldn't give him any more money. So he's like, "Fuck it, I'll use my Porsche."
Oh God.
For that scene.
I've got an extra one.
He probably did, because he was doing. This is his directorial debut, Michael Bay. Because fun fact, this was directed by Michael Bay.
Yes.
It was written by George Gallo and Michael Burry. And yeah, it's definitely a Michael Bay movie.
See, this one felt like I didn't quite realize that this was Michael Bay's first movie.
Yeah.
But I definitely felt the Michael Bay. I was like, this feels like a Michael Bay movie, but I can't quite tell. It doesn't feel quite Michael Bay enough yet. And then
it's the egg
yeah,
of what's to come.
Exactly. That's honestly how it felt to me. And so now knowing and now seeing on IMDb that this is Michael Bay, still not really realizing that it was his first movie though. I was like, who did this? Yeah. So that's kind of interesting to find out.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Sorry.
This movie holds a special place in my heart.
Okay.
Because me and my friends, we would all hang out, and there were certain movies that were like kind of go-tos for us. Because we would hang out, and when we weren't playing video games, we were watching movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, my friend B, who I talked about on the podcast with Lethal J, the one with the Vibe story, he introduced us to Bad Boys and Boondock Saints. So those two duologies, now one of them a trilogy, are kind of will always have special places in our hearts, and this one, still holds up 100%. Nothing aged at all in this film. Feels like it was made today.
Totally 100% made today. There's no out-of-date 1995 humor at all.
On a single thing. I'm not gonna lie. This film is this movie isn't great, but it's still just, I still find it fun in its stupid ways. Because A, it's a Michael Bay film, so my bar is already like down.
Down here.
Yeah. Like, the bar is not exactly high. The dude did Transformers 2 later in his career.
Why do you think we don't see any more Michael Bay movies?
He did how many after that?
He did a lot of Transformers, and he ended with Bumblebee, but he said he wasn't going to do any
And he did the
Transformer movies.
TMNT ones.
That's true. How many more movies do you see him doing?
He also did Battleship, right?
Did he? I don't remember. Let me double check while we talk about this
You
movie
should know
show.
since you've watched that one the most.
I've only watched it once very recently.
Which is more than I have ever watched. No, this movie just, it has aged a lot, but it's still just stupid fun. Like, it's a lot of stupid fun.
Yeah, it is kind of fun. Battleship is by Peter Berg, by the way. Directed by Peter Berg.
Ah.
Yeah. But this movie is kind of stupid fun. And if you shut off your brain, like I had to a little bit, I'm just kidding. But it does have some fun moments. There are some ridiculous moments as well. Like, you can definitely tell these are cops with plot armor at times. But my favorite moment, it's not a spoiler. There's a moment when Will Smith is, like, on his stomach, literally rolling in one of these movies. And it's just like, oh, God, are you... What? Just... Oh, I got him. Yeah, I'm shooting everybody. Holy...
I forgot about that, and I saw it, I'm like, oh my god, that's a thing. Alright. Oh, it was so good.
And there's just some really dumb moments. It's this movie, the next movie. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some pretty interesting stuff in these movies, and there's some funny jokes, absolutely. But these are just movies to sit and have fun. Like, you watch them to have fun and mess around a little bit.
Yeah, you don't watch these for plot.
No.
Bad Boys 1, I think personally, especially upon this rewatch, I do think, like, we'll get into more with when we get into spoilers. I think out of the two, I think is a little better, and I can explain more when we get to 2 why I feel it hinders a little bit. This one's a lot of fun because it's a brisk 2-hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like it's like way a long 2 hours. It's just because it's kind of always doing something.
Yeah.
Which is to its betterment. Because it kind of throws everything in the kitchen sink at you, which kind of works for it. And so when you get to the end, you're like, oh wow, I got through that a little bit faster than I expected. So it's not bad in that sense. And I mean, Martin Lawrence and Will Smith have just this really good chemistry on screen together.
They do have a good on-screen chemistry together, but after watching all 3 of these movies in one day, wow, are there a lot of the same tropes played on over and over and over just between the 2 of them. And I know it's like, some of it's not even within the same movie. Like, some of it's just me being mad that I watched all 3 of these in one day, basically. But, it's funny. It's definitely funny. This movie's good. But I wish there was more. Like, there's better action movies for sure. Like, don't get me wrong. 1995 and the early 2000s were not good action movies. Nowadays, we're getting to some pretty decent action movies. But, like, I wish there was a little bit better.
What do you mean? This film's action is fantastic. Which, by the way, this movie has one of the best, arguably the best running scene that isn't a Tom Cruise running scene. It's a Will Smith running scene.
Yes, the controversial running scene.
Which, did you know, also a little fact that I've learned, is that during that running scene, he did not want to have to be shirtless. So this entire running scene, there's this silk shirt he has on that looks like it just wants to come off. But he doesn't take it off. Because Will Smith didn't want to be topless.
Mm-hmm.
His whole chest and everything's exposed. during this entire scene.
I mean,
But
there's
he
also
still wanted it on.
I mean, there's also scenes later on, earlier in that movie, or earlier slash later in the same movie where he is topless on screen.
Will Smith? No.
Mm.
No.
In the first movie,
Yeah.
yeah, when he goes and visits, like when Marcus comes back home to visit after he does the phone call.
He's got a tank.
May have missed that. First movie's also got some pretty dark lighting.
Yes. I can pull up Netflix real quick.
Okay. Because I'm pretty sure. Like, maybe when he's outside he has a tank top on. But I thought I could have seen when he was upstairs, looking out the window, he was topless. I could be wrong. My eyes have deceived me in the past.
They're known to do that with you.
Yeah, and colors, you know? I can't see blacks and whites, you know? It's all just gray.
You're an idiot. I hate you. Hold on, let me find it. I have the ability to pull it up this time on you, so like...
That's true. Netflix exists, and these movies are both on Netflix. Hooray! I enjoyed how relatively...
Yeah, when he sticks his head out the window, he's got a white tank top.
Damn. Alright. I'll buy it. I won't fact check you myself, I'll just say you're right.
I can pull up my screen right now.
Nah, it's fine.
I have the ability.
It's fine. So, like, overall, I did enjoy this movie to a degree. Like, it's funny, it has some good moments in it. The best part is just these... To me, the best part is the chemistry, excuse me, between our two characters, Marcus and Mike. Like, definitely the best part of this movie. Lowry. Yeah. I'm like Lowry. You're not talking... Sound sexy. Sound like him. Sound sexier.
So, fun fact: these movies in Boondock Saints, me and my friends all, everyone ended up with a character.
Oh God.
So can you guess which character my friends said I was?
In this movie?
Yes.
Are you the captain?
Sup. Also, apparently Rocco from Boondock Saints.
Okay. One thing I did enjoy...
When we get to spoilers, there's something I'm going to need to talk about.
Okay. The captain, though, is one of my favorite characters in all three of these movies.
Oh, without a doubt.
Like, best part. Especially in the second movie. He's my favorite part of the second movie. So, that being said...
Joe Pantalone is just a fucking gem. Let's be real.
Absolutely. Okay. So, that being said, is there anything specific, non-spoilery thing we want to talk about in this movie?
How do you feel about the color hues that are used in this film?
There's a lot of weird colors to me. Like, I don't know how to entirely explain it myself. It's just, I was never really entirely that good at color stuff in movies because lighting is hard. So when I saw this movie and I saw all these random different colors, I was like, that was either done in post when they're just like, we just kind of need to correct the coloring to be a little more orange or a little more blue or a little more dark for one, or it was just you kind of didn't have the right understanding of lighting at the time, would be my thought.
Yeah, that's fair, because a lot of it is a lot of orange.
There's a lot of orange in this movie, and part of me wonders, part of me really wonders, there was a time in media when things were supposed to be like gritty, aka Hispanic, they were orange hued. And I was wondering, is that part of this maybe?
It's just Miami, dude.
All of Miami.
You go there and it looks
orange?
like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If you go to Miami, it's just orange, dude. Come on.
Just like the poster. Do I have
Yeah.
that one up right now? I do. Yeah, just like the poster.
That's just Miami, baby.
The orange sun. According to somebody I know named Grease, red suns are bad for your skin. So,
Well, yes. Grease? Did you just quote Grease?
Well,
Did you just quote Grease from Fallen Order?
yeah. It took you a moment. So, Dev, while you're getting over the really bad quote, um, sorry, I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, go for it.
Is there any one particular moment, like, when I think about this movie, the one moment that sticks out to me that's still not a spoiler is there's a scene where they pull 3 guns right into the camera. And they...
I love that scene.
Yeah, that is my favorite moment in this movie, by far. A lot of it...
Mother bitches!
Like, just that whole sequence of events that happens there is so hilarious to me. And that's probably going to be the moment that I will forever remember in this movie. Especially just because of that moment when they pull the guns and how it's perfectly framed up. I'm like, that's nice. That's a good shot right there. I can appreciate that. So, that's what I'm going to think of. Is there any other moment like that you can think of possibly in this movie?
Oh, shit. For me in this one, for me that scene is just like that I will always think fondly of is the whole driving and then the like how that whole the whole end of the movie with the driving and then the up close and personal.
Okay.
It's the up close.
Okay.
See, like
I get you.
all that. Because it's so over the fucking top.
Mm-hmm. A lot of this movie is over the top. I feel like that's the point of it. It's just go over the top
Really?
action, a bit of
What
comedy.
gave you that idea?
The fact that they're freaking cops doing military SWAT things, it's fucking hilarious. I mean, it's Miami. It's pretty extreme out there. But, like, they're in an active war zone practically by the end of this movie. So.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't really have much else to say, in all honesty, about these 2 movies. Wait, soundtrack. Terrible.
What?
I mean, it works fine. It really does. It's like when we make movies today where we use just pop music as a soundtrack. That's just what happened then. And I'm sure in like 10, 20 years when we're still making this podcast in our parents' houses, in our own rooms, we'll watch back at those movies and be like, wow, that was an awful soundtrack. But I'm calling us out here, Dev. I don't know if you noticed that.
You know I'm working on getting a place, you goddamn dickhead.
I do know that. So, but the soundtrack didn't help me. It's just like one of those things that you have to shut off your brain a little bit to be able to, for me, to enjoy this movie. And once I did, it was a good, fun ride.
But you gotta turn your brain off, dude. Like,
Dev, it's hard for me to turn my brain off because I haven't cleaned it out in a while, so it's really hard to reboot. Like,
oh, that's fair.
yeah, it's just I don't like shutting down all the time. Just sometimes. Okay.
Well, this was a sometime, all right.
This wasn't all day being shut down. It's just like it was really hard to get home. Okay, so I'm gonna give you your popcorn kernels, Dev.
Okay.
10 of them. How many are you gonna give to Bad Boys?
Just for my sake of nostalgia, I'm giving it an 8.
Okay, I can appreciate that. I guess.
Like, purely these films. Warning everyone now, these films are purely getting rated from my nostalgia and just my fond memories of watching these films. I understand they're not great films, but I have fun with them. So, 8. What about yourself?
I'm gonna give it a nice, solid 6.5.
That is higher than I expected.
It's fine. It's okay.
Puts it at a 7.5.
Yeah,
it is on the same rating for us as Dunkirk.
It's fine. You want? I could be harsher. I definitely could be harsher for you.
I know. I'm just letting you know where it is.
Yeah. Also realize that we thought Dunkirk was slow and a little boring.
It's true.
This at least wasn't slow and boring.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it just made absolutely no sense. It was all action. So,
You're not wrong.
sorry, 1 second. I'm typing something into my computer here real fast. Because it is being picky. And then I'm going to press the button to switch us over to our next movie that we'll be discussing, which is obviously Bad Boys 2.
What else could it be at this point?
I don't know.
So this movie's worse.
I both agree and disagree. I thought that the overall story that was told was 100% worse. I thought that this was definitely 100% more Michael Bay. This is definitely a 8 more years refined Michael Bay at this point, and you could tell that in this movie.
Well, my also thought process on it being worse is that it is just, it's long, man.
That's, like, I have a couple of things written down in this movie. Like, I actually took notes on this one because I remembered, because I wasn't in the middle of playing a video game while watching the movie. So, this movie, the quick notes that I jotted down were, it was pretty funny, but overall it's too much. I thought that the story was well thought out for the most part. Like, from point A to point B to point C to point D kind of made sense, but once again, there's just too much. They had way too many moments in there, and in the last 30 minutes of the movie was when he says, "Ah, shit just got real," and that's when like all the action starts pumping up and the pacing of the movie gets up, and it's like, you've already been sitting here for 2 hours, so what the hell's going on? Why are we still sitting here? And all in all, the things that I hated the most were maybe the fact that there were 3 car chases, and that there was way too much shaking camera anytime any action was happening. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.
My problems with it is that, like, it takes for, if this movie was about the same length as the first one, I think it would be better. It would be
Probably, yeah.
Cut 30, because there's a lot of jokes that just don't need to be in this film.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of unnecessary stuff in the second film. So with that, it just kind of drags out. Like, there's a whole, like, when you're watching it, the whole movie happens, and then we get a whole extra 30 minutes of movie. Because they decide, it's a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler because it's important to know. They invade Cuba.
That's true. That is very true. They don't need passports because if they get found, they're dead.
Yeah, pretty much. Which, arguably, pretty dumb. And, like, there's just a lot of little things in this film that just, like, if it was just cut down a little bit, you could leave all of this film in there. Just cut certain things down.
Yeah, like, I would 100% agree with you. It's just way too much of this movie goes on. Like, I thought that each scene that we had was fine. It's just that they played in too much to each moment. Like, there was a build-up, the setup, there was the action moment, and then there was the, like, ease of tension, and there was a transition to the next scene. And then in that transition to the next scene, there was, like, 2 minutes of B-roll, and then suddenly we're back to the setup of what's going to happen next. And then it just keeps going and going and going.
But also, during all of those, this is happening every, like, 20 minutes. There's a thing that happens that sets to the next thing, next action scene, this, that, every 20 minutes. It's like, holy shit, you're in the fucking spin cycle. And it's not necessarily a terrible thing because it would work if the movie was shorter.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the problem with it.
Yeah, it's just.
Oh, by the way, this was directed again by Michael Bay, written again by George Galileo, but also written by Marina Wilberly. This one had a much larger budget of
the first one
130 million estimated. Opening weekend U.S. it made $46 million, which is pretty good. About a third of the budget, a third to a quarter of the budget needed for the film. So, no, closer to a third. Yeah, it's around a third.
I'm sorry, I didn't listen to those numbers. Could you repeat them for me?
130 million was the budget. 46.5 million was the opening weekend U.S.
A little over a third.
A little over a third. Okay. Over a third on your opening weekend. That's not bad for a film above 100 million in 2003. Yeah. So, and run. It's a 2 hour and 30-minute film. Like, it didn't need to be that long. That's my biggest gripe with this film. Is that, like, trying to fit in time to watch it just felt like I didn't. Is the biggest thing. I'm like, I don't have time for this movie because it's so fucking long. But like, I still enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still moments of this movie to enjoy for sure. Like I said, I thought it was pretty funny. There's definitely, once you just kind of don't dissect the plot and don't really dig deep into what's going on in this movie, you can enjoy what's going on. Like, these movies, this is an action film intended to be fun and action-packed, and it's definitely that. There's a lot more explosion in this movie, that's for sure. So, I would definitely say it kicks up the Michael Bay. It's just Michael Bay. It's Michael Bay finally hitting his stride and making the movies the way he likes to make them. And I mean, it's not bad. It's really not. It's way too long. It's trim the fat a little bit, shorten this up, speed up the pacing a little bit more. We'd be good, I'd say. Honestly.
I can agree with that. It's just a little long.
Yeah. So, is there anything else in this movie you want to talk about, or do we just want to hop on over to the third one?
How did you feel about the cameo in the car?
Cameo in the car. I must be blanking it for some reason.
Let me pull up his name. Dan Marino and Michael Bay.
Oh, were they the ones the cops got?
The car that they borrowed?
Oh, okay. See, to me it wasn't really all that important. Because I didn't.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I thought it was funny because he was a rich person in the movie, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. And they made jokes about him, and I was like, cool, that's funny. And they make jokes about the situation that they're in. So I was like, oh, this is all funny. It's one of those funny moments. But the cameo didn't really mean much to me specifically.
Fair enough. How did you feel? So, one of my personal favorite actors is in this movie. Peter Stormare.
Peter Stormare.
Yes.
Why? Is it because it's his roles in the Penguin movies, or?
The Penguin movie? No. I mean, he's right there too, but he is, if I remember correctly, I gotta scroll down to like 2008.
No worries. I'm just curious. I want to hear. I want to hear you explain yourself. I don't mind. I'm curious.
There is the game Mercenaries. Playground of Destruction. He is Matthias Nelson, one of my favorite characters in video games.
Oh, I see Mercenaries 2. I've never played Mercenaries.
I love the first one a lot. So, like, that was my introduction to him, and then anytime I hear or see him in anything, it was also in John Wick 2. He's just... He's one of those things that when I see him, I'm like, oh, hey, it's Peter. So I like seeing him in films. So that is my point.
No worries, I get you. We can all have our nostalgia actor that we love, and everyone has one. No worries, I understand.
You better.
I think I am one of the people who understands you the most in this world, Dev. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. Throwing popcorn at you, bitch.
Alright, so for this movie, I'm gonna give it... let's give this one a nice little 6. It's
fair enough.
Just too long, really. It has all the same all the same things that makes Bad Boys 1 pretty good. It's just thinned out and stretched out over time, so it's like,
yeah. I also am giving it a 7.
All right,
so it does put it at a 6.5.
That it does.
Which is the rating we gave Murder Mystery. I have the chart here. I can kind of compare things. It's kind of fun.
You enjoy that now?
Yeah, I like this little segment I can do now. Like, bring up a random film. It happens to score the same point as.
And I mean, it might help us reevaluate a little bit too. Be like, oh, maybe that's too high of a rating. Yeah, at least that's my hope. That'll help you reevaluate you and your nostalgia ratings.
Oh, you know that never will happen. I will gladly rate this at the same rate as Dunkirk on the first one, man. Come on.
All right, fine. We're going to move on then to our last movie before we get into the spoilers, which is Bad Boys for Life.
One last time. Bad Boys for Life. What you want? What you want? What you want to do? Yeah. Man.
That dumb. I thought that was probably, to me, the dumbest joke in this whole trilogy, is that they can't sing the damn theme song of the movie.
It's one of my favorite moments because it's just so dumb. They could have had it playing at the same time as them, had them singing in time and all that. Hell, Will Smith knows how to do music, so...
Yeah, that was the thing that bugged me too, is that every time that they were singing it, well, not every time, there were plenty of times when they were singing it that was playing in the background, and it was them not together at all. And then
they're completely out of it.
Yeah, and then there they are, just complaining to others, like, you're not even in time, you're not singing it right. What the... Like, you're not singing it right. That was the worst joke to me the whole time.
I loved it. I love it because it's so dumb. So...
See,
it doesn't bother me at all.
Mm-hmm. And then this movie had dumb jokes about glasses. And I was like, really? Really? Like, everything's in HD. Okay, so let's just get into this. Okay, before I start digging in. Once again, this was an okay movie. I thought it was a lot better when it came to the action and the choreography of, like, events and things, like when it came to, like, the driving events and the fighting and all that fun stuff. I thought the storytelling was a little bit better in ways.
Yes. In a lot of ways.
Yeah. I also liked the story, like, I liked just the added characters too. Like, the fact that it wasn't just our two main characters here. We got to see a little bit more of, like, the world of the agency that they lived in, I guess. And they weren't terrible characters either. My favorite has to be the muscly tech guy.
Oh, yeah. the one who's played by a fucking killer in a different franchise that we've watched before.
Absolutely.
Fucking Kato. Fucking goddamn, you made me watch that movie. Every time I saw him, I'm like, oh yeah, he's not bad. Oh wait, that was Hunger Games. Oh, that motherfucker. Oh god, Steven made me watch that before. Oh, that piece of shit.
God damn, I hate Steven, that piece of shit.
Watch goddamn Hunger Games bullshit. No, he was cool. I liked the cast. This movie, by the way, was directed by
For the first time ever.
E. Arby.
Not this director's out first time ever, but
Adil.
Adil.
Adil E. Arby and Bella. I'm really sorry. I'm butchering this already. Chris Bremer on as for screenplay and Peter Craig on screenplay. Completely different than what it was before. So also budget smaller than the second film of $90 million, but opening weekend largest out of all of them so far for U.S. $62 million.
Yeah, that's something I read a lot in the just in my my little news articles that I read through every day. Just like, hey, this movie has gotten the highest grossing amount of money ever for a Bad Boys for Life or for a Bad Boys franchise. I'm like, oh, really? Interesting.
It did really well this weekend. And understandably, it's a movie. A lot of people are like, oh man, it's 17 years. That's probably a little late, right? Nah, dude, perfect time. Perfect time because, like, people who had kids that year who watched that one can take their kid to this one.
One thing I was kind of confused about, like, they talk about, I think they get their timeline a little mixed up, or I misheard them when they were talking about their own timeline, because they make it sound like they started being partners 25 years ago, which 25 years ago was 1995, which is when Bad Boys for Life takes place. When they say that they've been partners for 6 years already. So, I don't know if I'm confused or the movie's confused.
You're thinking too hard. That's your first problem.
A good point. I didn't shut down enough.
No, stop thinking about these problems. This is the best a Bad Boys movie is going to get, Steven.
That concerns me because there's an obvious sequel bait. So,
See, what needs to happen, especially after watching this movie, and there's a lot of people who've said it, but without a doubt after this one, this franchise and goddamn Fast and Furious have to meet sometime. In some way.
Fast and Furious. Like, do you think Hobbs and Shobbs meets Marcus and Mike kind of thing?
Yes.
I mean, they drive a lot, yes, but I don't know.
Which is why they were perfect in the Hobbs and Shaw.
It's like, so who would be the bad guy? We're getting off track, I know, but, like, are they working together to bust somebody?
Yeah,
or is Hobbs and Shaw the bad guys again somehow?
No. They're not the bad guys. Hobbs and Shaw the bad guys? No. God, no. They were never the bad guys.
Shaw was the bad guy in the second movie, or whatever.
Nah. He was never bad. It's not like he killed Han, and we can't forgive him for it, but they want us to forgive him for it, which is just a cardinal sin.
Didn't they retcon Han's death in Tokyo Drift?
No, the retcon is so that he killed him. That's the retcon.
That's right.
It doesn't work because you're supposed to like him now, but you're like, but you killed Han. Like,
who we all really liked.
We liked a lot. Han was great.
I haven't seen.
Killed a favorite character.
Oh god. I really hope we're not going to be doing a Need for Speed rating episode where we rate all 8 Need for Speed movies.
Fast and Furious movies.
That one, either way.
Why not?
Because it sounds like a terrible idea to me. I
There
don't
should be a
want to.
ninth one. We did it for the last one.
I don't want to watch that many terrible movies.
I get few glorious moments for this show, Steven.
I mean, it's upsetting because the idea popped in my head and it's a great idea, but I hate that it's a great idea.
I've been planning it already.
So, back to Bad Boys for Life.
I felt this movie was a lot of fun, and it was a little bit more precise.
Oh, absolutely.
And the story beats I felt were earned. There's some returns of some people who I didn't expect. There's some new introduction to characters who I liked. And there are some actual, like, pretty emotional moments in the movie that, like, you don't want to happen, but they happen anyways, and you're like, God damn, that happened.
I'll definitely be honest. There was, like, I don't know why. Only because I guess I'm emotional right now. But I got some tears in my eyes when this movie started.
Same.
It was like, wow, we're just starting, and I'm already sitting here with the tissue. Like, all right, person I've never met sitting right next to me, don't notice me cry.
You bitch.
Basically. So, that being said, this movie has a lot more emotional beats. The story's better. I thought, like, some of it was a little at time convenience. Others made sense and it was cool. Like, it was a lot more concise. I definitely thought this one was a little bit more of a, come check out Miami, slow motion water skis, wide open streets with amazing views of lakes and waters and oceans. No traffic.
I never got that.
There was just a lot of B-roll that was just Miami in slow motion, and it kind of bugged me. Because
the other ones had more of it.
I maybe, but I kind of noticed it better in this movie myself, like, only because they used it as more of a transition of time, I guess. Like, don't get me wrong, in the second movie they do it as well, but I don't feel like they used it as often as they did in this movie.
I mean, fair. But I think it works because there needs to be a passage of time. So, without it,
I get you. It's they do.
How else do you do it? You know what I mean?
That's true. One of my big complaints actually is just at the very beginning of this movie. It starts with, like, we learn about our conflicts, like who our villain is gonna be. In a way, we learn about them, and then we instantly jump in the middle of credits rolling. We jump into Miami, Florida. Like, it shows us the text that we're flying over the ocean into Miami, Florida. But it's in the same exact font as all of the text as the directors and all that stuff. And then the directors and all the credits keep rolling afterwards. So it's like, is Miami, Florida a part of the credits? Or are we here? I don't know what's going on. I mean, I know what was going on, but still.
You're overthinking it, Steven.
Just gonna walk out in anger. That can't be the answer for movies, that I'm overthinking it. There needs to be more.
You're overthinking it, Steven.
I know. It's still the best movie.
Oh, without a doubt. And the action was fun.
Absolutely. I definitely thought this was like Will Smith's, like, comeback to John Wick. I was like, you want to see some badass action? I can do some badass action still. I'm in my 50s like Keanu. Watch me go. And he had some pretty cool moments. 100%.
Yeah.
This was some of the best action scenes and choreography by far this movie has had. Or this franchise has had, I'll say. One of my favorite things was, like, how for once we got to see, like, the perspective of Martin Lawrence in, like, his character when Mike was going off and doing his own thing. And I was like, hey, that's pretty clever. We actually get to see it from the outside in. And it's like, oh, wow. This is kind of... I could see his point sometimes when we're not along for the ride. It's just very sudden escalation. Just...
But that escalation is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Also, let's just be real. They are not good cops.
No. Tactical. God damn it! It's in the name. So
No, I enjoyed this one. It definitely it doesn't feel. I think a good point for this film is that it doesn't feel like a Michael Bay film,
it's definitely not. That's for sure.
which sorry, works towards betterment. Um, because the other ones feel 100% like Michael Bay films. So there is that.
Yeah, this
Going
is
for it now.
so. This the directors in this movie, the ones you can't pronounce, they've worked together in 2 other movies, but this is like their first major Hollywood movie, and this is good. Like,
It's fun.
yeah, I would definitely. This is definitely the best one out of all of them, and out of all the movies. And the only other movies that he's done, I'll start with the deal. The movies that he's done was a movie called Image, in the mean streets of Brussels, and a guy who runs into a Moroccan gang in a documentary. There's a movie called Black, about a gang in Brussels. And let's see, and a Moroccan boy who runs into the gang. So there's that, and then this is the first movie where, let's see, no, then they have Snowfall. Oh, no, then he has Gangster. Sorry, my apologies. I'm spitting out lies, but still with Bila Fala. Like, it's they just work together in every single one of their movies. So
They're a duo.
yes, we could have a
Like
new.
D.B. Weiss and David Benioff.
Mm-hmm. We could have a new major movie directing couple out there. So that could
I'm cool with it. It
Yeah.
was fun.
They're pretty good. Like, what my big complaint was just the B-roll to use as a transition to time. They could have maybe spiced it up a little bit, but everything else was good. I enjoyed it a lot. Though once again, this was one of those movies where I was like, God damn, there's too much plot armor and bullet immunity, especially for Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, that's fair. But, it's a fun movie.
True. I can almost forgive it for the whole, like, distraction of the main storyline with the dreadlock dude. I can almost forgive that.
Redlock dude?
White dreads in his.
That's the second one.
Oh, fine. Either way, yeah, that's true. That is the second one. Either way, this movie still great. It's just, once again, I want more. And you say shut off the brain, I'm overthinking it, but still, I don't think that's okay. And because I'm nice, I'm gonna give it a high rating. But if I was mean Steven, who I was when we started this podcast, this would definitely have a low rating. Oh, yeah, I get it. Yawn it out. Get it out of there. You know, if you sat up and, like, paid attention, you might... I'm just kidding.
I've been yawning when I'm sitting like this too, motherfucker. I'm just yawning, alright? I'm tired. The fact that, like, I don't know. For me, shut off your goddamn brain. Because, you know what? It doesn't matter. Just go with the role, man, on this kind of film. It's just like, it's like Fast 7. I talked about this before.
I don't think I've seen
The
Fast
scene-
7. Wasn't that the one that took itself way too seriously?
Eh,
Or was that Fast
That was
5?
8.
Oh, that was 8?
8 took itself very seriously.
Okay.
It still did really dumb stuff like a submarine chase.
Were they racing on the beach to keep
Nope.
up with the sun? Were they racing on the water
Sort of.
with cars?
Sort of.
We'll get
There's
it.
ice.
We're gonna. Oh! I don't want to have to watch all those movies.
Yeah, you do.
I'm pretty sure I stopped watching them after Paul Walker.
Oh, that's 7. That's the one I'm gonna bitch about real quick because his character does one of the things that my brain still latches onto as an unforgivable thing. But again, my brain also goes, but it's a fast movie. Is the scene where Paul Walker's character jumps out of the car as it's going off a cliff, jumps out, reaches out, and Michelle Rodriguez's car comes around the edge of the cliff, and he grabs the spoiler.
It holds on.
And then gets flung back up. And I'm like, no, his arm is broken. But at the same time, I'm like, but it's a fast movie. I don't care.
Everything about him is broken.
Well, at minimum, his arm.
Yeah.
Is more my thought. But then again, I'm like, oh, I don't give a shit, though, because this is a fast movie, and nothing matters. That's how you gotta be with Bad Boys, alright? Nothing matters.
Nothing matters. Just the chemistry between our two actors.
Which was good in this film.
Absolutely. One thing I was kind of disappointed on is just this movie has that exact same problem of a relationship that was built up at the end of one movie doesn't exist anymore by the beginning of another. And it's supposed to lead into the character and his decisions and why he's this way in this new movie and why he's kind of backtracked a little bit in his mindset based off of the past movies because he hasn't really learned his lessons.
Is it the relationship stuff? Is it the relationship stuff or
like in the second movie he gets with Sid in a way.
Yeah.
And I know by the end of the second movie, like when we get to the credits, they're already talking and making jokes about what could and what could not happen. But then in this movie, they're already spoilers for the second movie. But like by the end of this movie, they're already broken up and like,
they break up at the end of the second.
I get that. I understand that. It's just that like then we go years without seeing these people. And it's supposed to be like that was a moment that helps develop this character, and it doesn't really matter that much. Just there's moments from these movies like where the characters backtrack, of course, which always happens. Like the relationship with each other backtracks. They have to have the inner conflict with each other, but it just kind of sucks because every time they do that, they counteract the movies and the lessons from the other movie. It's just shut off my
They're
brain.
always gonna bicker with each other because that's their relationship.
And that's what makes these movies funny. Yeah.
Reminds me of other relationships out there.
Those relationships sound toxic, and
are they though? Like, let's be real. If you can't tell, we're talking about each other.
Yes.
'Cause we do bicker at each other a lot. But let's be real. I would give up a lot for you as my friend.
Oh, Dev. I guess that's true for me too.
You get motherfucker. Joking aside. No, my thought process on it is like there are certain relationships that people have that is the relationship they have, and it's not necessarily toxic. It's just that like you and your best friend can butt heads a lot on a lot of things and still be best friends because some clerk decided to pull a gun on you two, and you two are just like, motherfucker, listen here. We were trying to have an argument.
That happens a lot in this.
Skittles.
That was hilarious. I want the bubble gum and some Skittles.
I want some Hubba Max.
I thought it was Tropicana Bubblicious and some Skittles.
Oh, something like that.
Yeah.
And then for Wilson, then Warren Lawrence, and some Skittles.
That was the first movie, dang it.
So what? It's still good.
Yeah. It's just, there's just good movies in all these movies.
Bitches!
But, yeah.
Sorry.
And it happens a lot. There's really good moments in all these movies. It's just, that does happen where they just start arguing and bickering with each other, and that's how they solve the problem. It's because they're yelling at each other just confuses the enemy, and it leaves them disarmed, and like suddenly Will Smith is like, "Fuck you! I've got a gun," and that's every movie.
All right then, that's fair. Yeah, I still have fun with it though.
Yeah, you can still have fun with it. That's 100% true. Which I did have fun with it. I laughed. I cried. I don't know why I cried, but I did.
You'll find out in spoilers, ladies and gentlemen, why he cried.
No, like, I know why I cried. I just don't know why I cried. These aren't good movies. They're not very emotional. I mean, except it was. I'm just kidding. Alright, so, can I give you your popcorns and we can move on to spoilers?
Sure.
Okay.
8.
An 8? I
Yeah.
can appreciate that. This one gets a 7 from me, so. It's fine. It's good. It's fine. It's fine. Fine. It's fine.
Fair enough.
Just is-
Let's get ready to spoiler!
Oh, I didn't hit the right one. Whoops. There
Did
we
you have
go.
the wrong image? Oh, there you
go. I had the wrong image put in. I am never prepared. So yeah, spoilers. We're now spoiling Bad Boys for Life. And probably all the other Bad Boys too. But we'll start with Bad Boys for Life. And then we'll start digesting and dissecting and comparing and... Yeah.
I didn't expect the opener.
Oh, yeah, with just like the sudden bloody ruthlessness of it all?
Oh, that I'm fine with.
Okay.
I meant, sorry, not opener. The shooting. With
Oh, with Will Smith.
Mike?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Mike. Yeah, that was unexpected. But it was unexpected only because we literally had a character in the movie that says this guy dies last. And then he was the first one to get shot and attacked. So it was, in a way, it was like a cheeky sort of intentional misdirection. But it worked. It worked very well. And like, the guy takes 4 shots to the chest. And I was emotional. I was like, Martin Lawrence and all the other cast there really pulled me in and actually made me feel upset that Detective Mike Lowry was dying. I was kind of shocked.
he lived. A lot of other people died, and then someone really important died.
Are you talking about the captain?
Dude, that sucked.
That did. That also kind of came out of nowhere. Like,
I mean, it was foreshadowed heavy because he did the whole like speech thing with him.
oh yeah, like we just had a very emotional, impactful talk, and this is the exact scene directly after it. What's gonna happen? Shot in the fucking neck with the sniper.
Characters I get told I am die a lot.
Are you gonna be the next Sean Bean?
I don't want to be because like every character that like from high school that I get told like, oh yeah, you're this character, they die. Same with like, I don't know if you've watched Boondock Saints, but Rocco has the same fate.
I have not watched the Boondock Saints.
Rocco has the same fate. Sorry, people. Boondock Saints spoilers. The movie is how old? It's one of those things I'm kind of now like, huh. Are characters just destined? Am I destined to always be Seth Green or die?
Hey, if the good news is if somebody reminds you of them and you're in a movie, that means you're going to be successful for at least a little bit in your life before you die miserably. Just know that there's success in your future. Silver linings. Woo-saw. Which, that, once again, that's why Joe Pantoliano, a.k.a. Go ahead.
Pantalone. That's how I say it.
Pantoliano, and Captain Howard is one of my favorites, especially because, like, each one of the movies he has a different addiction. The first movie is smoking, the second movie is his, like, stress therapy, the third movie is Pepto-Bismol. It's just... I thought it was funny that he just has a different vice, and all of them are kind of ridiculous in their own way.
Yeah, and then it's just...
You know how much shit? I have so much brass up my ass that I'm practically singing the Star Spangled Banner.
Dude, he's so good.
yeah.
Those angry tirades are so good.
And we'll never see him again because we now have Captain.
Rita.
Yes.
Not a bad character. I like all the characters. I don't know. I don't know if there's much I can say spoiler wise other than like I didn't want the captain to die, and then the captain died. I'm like, motherfucker. Why? Why you gotta do that? Oh, and Reggie. Reggie was a good surprise.
Oh yeah, I loved Reggie coming back and the whole relationship. I thought it was funny that the whole starting driving scene was them just trying to get to the berth, and you're pop, and then it all starts with him just baby. It
starts with that. It's
that was hilarious to me.
His name is Marcus, middle name Burnett.
That's my name.
That's my name.
It was Reggie's idea.
Reggie's idea.
What? Reggie's still here?
Reggie!
And he's in the military?
Pans up to Reggie. Or pans up the back of Reggie. Exactly the first scene we see him in 2. Hands around. I thought it would be a nice tribute, sir.
Mm.
That's sweet of you, Reggie.
And he's just sitting there like...
Alright, I'll see you when you get your shit together.
Yeah. And my next favorite scene, which, now that I think about it, he's talking about kids and babies. Kind of makes sense that when we get to the ending that's what was foreshadowed. I hadn't pieced that together myself until just now. But, because I just thought it was like, it makes sense that that's the villain. But my favorite scene, my favorite thing, is the rat when they go and go to see him in the minivan. It's like, all right, we got to do this. We're doing this together. We're going. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Shadows right behind them. That better be a safe or a piano. It's the dead body on the car, and oh, that was hilarious to me. It's just timing is perfect.
It was good. Like it happened. I went, oh.
Yeah, this movie is in a way far more gruesome, but because it goes with the more gruesome route with the bodies, it's a lot more hilarious. It does a John Wick.
Well, I would say 2 was kind of gruesome too. There was dead bodies flying out of that vehicle that they were chasing and running over.
Yeah, like heads popping off and everything too.
It was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough.
There were moments when I was like, oh god.
And dead tits. Like, I don't want to talk about it, but 2 had dead tits. Like,
it's the bimbo, and then as she's getting rolled away, it's just jiggle, 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 right in front of his face. That was...
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, Dev, she wasn't actually dead.
No shit, Sherlock. It's
the thought.
Implication.
Yeah. I mean, they had this whole argument. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. They did. They're like, you're looking, though. Just let her have some respect. Some dignity.
No, like that, and then also, I liked the whole, the post-credit, the second teaser.
You have a chance to get... That made me upset, honestly. Like...
That made me go, please have, like, Mr. Nobody or The Rock walk into this room right fucking now. Please.
Like, maybe, yeah. But my guess is that the next movie is going to be Will Smith and whatever his name is. What was our bad guy's name?
Trying to figure that out real quick.
Because Isabella was his mother. But
yeah, it's Armando.
Armando Armas.
Yes.
Okay. So Jacob Scipio. Yes, that's him. So it's going to be him and Will Smith in the next movie, and I don't think Martin Lawrence is going to be in it.
We'll see what happens. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, now that I brought that up, like the whole it's a baby and you don't have a child thing, kind of makes sense now that, like, I just thought it was kind of like a random thing that they threw in. Like, it makes sense. They had to fill in that there's a child in there
They
somewhere.
sprinkled it in until it happened.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it in retrospect, there's a lot of kind of little hints.
It's some good foreshadowing for
Yeah.
it. It's not blatantly this is gonna be his kid. It's a lot of there's the sprinkle of the kid lines in the beginning. There's the sprinkle of the have you ever been in love once.
Mm-hmm.
There's the
That one made sense to me. That
Los
caught on.
Flagos is what I can't remember what they say.
Hasta la Flagos.
Yes. Which he says it's same.
It's made up Spanish that's supposed to mean I'll love you until we burn down or something.
Yeah, but like she's like, what does that even mean when Rita hears it?
Oh yeah.
And like, and then when like all of those little things that have been sprinkled so far, and like the whole wait till he's the last one, all of that is sprinkled in there for when he says "Hasta the Flagos" on the helicopter, and then you're like, wait, what? Because that's not the ball drop. That's the chain cracking.
Yeah, we're gonna hit you over the head with it now.
Yeah, that's your final warning if you don't get it yet.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get it. It was like, is this what they're doing with this?
Yeah, my thought was like, are they really gonna make him his son? Really? I wasn't thinking like that was just gonna be the whole plot, like how like it was all foreshadowed that heavily that early on, but
damn, it was.
that it was.
And not poorly either. Like, it's actually like...
One of the things, now that I think about it, I was a little confused by it in the theater, but it makes sense now. There's the scene when after the guy falls off the building, and what Will Smith does, Mark, he pulls up the mic, he pulls up the helmet, and it just rapidly switches between a close-up of both of their faces. And it's like, huh, why did they do that? But it's like, it's Will Smith seeing, like, his spirit in that kid's eyes, and it's like, huh, there's something about you that I recognize.
Yeah. It's little hints like that worked really well, in my opinion. Again, best structured of them.
Yeah, this is definitely the best one out of all the movies, so.
I liked it.
It's fun. Watch it. That's all I gotta say. Watch it.
If you like the Bad Boys movies. If you don't like the Bad Boys movies, I can't say you'd enjoy this.
Yeah, that's true. There's definitely... At least there's nothing dumb like he's rolling around on the floor shooting people in this movie.
Damn it, but that was so funny.
The moment that I thought was kind of dumb, it was definitely the Murphy's Law moment for sure. Where it was like, he shoots one guy. The guy, as he's falling back, has a machine gun that rips across. And one of those sprayed bullets hits a tank, which blows up and blasts the guy that they need alive into a forklift and impales him.
Holy shit, that was awesome, though.
It was really cool, but I was like, really?
I know, there's no way of preventing that at that point.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to happen.
Yeah, he's dead.
So, yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah, I got nothing else I can really bring up.
Let's see, what is there anything else in this movie that just infuriated me? Trying to think through the chain of events. No, nothing really sticks to my mind. I mean, I guess the only thing that really bugs me is the once again, there was a good part of the movie that we could have gone without, which was it was probably maybe the first third of the movie where where Martin Lawrence's character decides he's not going to cause any more violence. So we get to see some fun juxtaposition between him and Will Smith as they're going through their daily lives now, which one is just sitting at home and kind of making a ruckus for his wife, and the other is being a vigilante.
Yeah.
But, which was kind of funny side by side with each other. But when you boil it down, it's just kind of like 20, 30 minutes of essentially kind of unneeded film moments. Because once the captain dies is when the movie kind of really picks up its pace and to me, is when a movie actually kind of starts. So they could have maybe trimmed down the front end of that, like the setup to why this needs to happen. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that they trimmed down the beginning montage to being just like, boom, this person's dead, boom, this person's dead, boom, this person's dead. And Mike is just in the hospital the whole time, so there's nothing they can do about it, but...
Yeah, it's what... It could have gone a little bit faster with those. But again, compared to the pacing issues of 2, I'll take it.
That's true. They did what she said. They cut out a half hour and it was better.
Yeah. Guess what? I could edit a film. Sort of.
Is that why you
Not
paid
really.
somebody to do it for you?
Listen here, motherfucker.
Are you ready to... Do we want to spoil any of the other movies, or do we want to just head into news and wrap up?
Is there anything that we need to talk about in the other films?
Let's see, spoiler-wise, in the other movies. Were you at all, at any point, like... Because this was my first viewing of the movie, I got a little confused between all the different things that were going on. There was, like, one team versus another team versus, like, another team, and it's, like, all this random bullshit going on at once. Was it, like... Was it easy to comprehend for you? Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't, because I don't even pick up what you were talking down there.
Okay. There's one scene, the one scene that I'm thinking of specifically. Like, it makes sense, honestly, but it's just, it feels pretty packed, like heavily packed. Where it's the DEA is there in Miami working with/against the Miami PD. And we have our DEA agent delivering the cash to a drug supplier, which is all planned. This is what the DEA wants. But this drug supplier is about to be overcome by a third party. So in this whole transactions, there's 4 different groups going on here. There's a lot to keep up in there. Which makes sense why 2 is kind of the worst one out of all of them, and it's the one that fills with the most... drawn out, but because they have all those storylines that they had to resolve. But still, it just seems like it could have been a little bit easier, I guess.
That's fair.
Let's see, specific spoilers that were maybe important. Nah, I don't really have anything that's important to talk about.
All right. On to news then.
All right, so to the snooze. That recording is going to start with me going, "Two!" Oh, it's not. All right. You need to add some typing in there. Okay, so news, wrap up, all that fun stuff. So I've got a couple of small little things. There wasn't really too much that I had spotted this week that I had found super interesting to talk about. But I'm sure once I go to IMDb, there'll be more. But the things that I wanted to talk about, have you watched Watchmen on HBO?
Nope.
Do you at all plan to?
Maybe at some point.
Maybe at some point. I can appreciate that. To me, Watchmen, I haven't finished the first season yet because I've run into all these other movies and things that we have to watch, and sometimes I decide to play video games instead of watching TV. So I haven't finished Watchmen, but what I have seen, it's very interesting, and at times it can be complex, other times it could be trying too hard to be complex. But it's a pretty interesting story, and I liked it a lot. But like it so far a lot. It's just that the showrunner, whatever his name is, that I am forgetting, and for some reason this article that I have of it won't show it to me anymore. He has dropped out of trying to continue the show. Like, he doesn't want to run the show anymore. So without him, HBO is probably not going to do a second season.
I heard it's pretty closed loop though, so it works.
Yeah, it was a very much a concise, open closed story. So it could be fine just there and that's it. Because my family has watched it all, and they tell me that they felt that there wasn't really room for a second season. That if they wanted to make a second season, they could, because it would be a good show. It's just that they're not sure what the story would be. So, yeah, there you go. If you're hoping to see an HBO second season of The Watchmen, you're out of luck. I'm sorry. Let's see. Other news. Disney has decided to cull Fox from 20th Century Fox. Which,
so it's going to be just 20th century.
Yep, 20th Century movies and films and whatever.
Studios.
Yep.
20th Century Studios probably sounds best.
Yeah. 20th Century, it's probably going to be 20th Century Film Studios. Because they were 20th
One
Century
or the other.
Fox Film Studios before. And
yeah, but I mean for the logo.
Yeah. And
it's either 20th Century Films or 20th Century Studios. Can't have both on that fucking logo. Just gonna say that now.
That's true. But they were but Disney and people are talking about it. They have spent quite a bit of money on what they've done, of course. But they haven't really discussed any of the other Fox acquisitions they've had. Like, they haven't talked about what they're going to rename the TV shows, or like they have 2 different television stations, and they own their own studios. And
they own FFX, right?
I don't think they do. It says here that they own 20th Century Fox and Fox 21 Television.
Yeah, it falls under that.
Maybe. I'll look this up. Who owns FX? Oh, yep. Based at the 20th Century Fox lot. So,
I am king!
So yeah, FX, FFX, and Fox and all that stuff are all owned by Disney. They haven't really decided what they're going to call those movies, or call those stations yet. So,
we'll see what they do.
Yeah, basically.
It's an understandable move to move away from the name Fox at this point.
Because that's not the type of image they want associated with their company, with their branding.
Can't understand why. Fair and balanced reasons, I'm sure.
I mean, hey, we need to make Disney look bad some way, or else they'll become the mega conglomerate that they already are, and take over the world.
It's a little late for that.
The only thing that's stopping them is Google.
Again. A little late for that.
So, let's see. I don't really see much other news here. Oh, there was an article that I had shown that was kind of a talk piece. Let's see. Real World War III, Disney versus Google. I agree with you, Jay. Absolutely. That is World War III. I mean, it's technically the streaming wars right now, right? Between Netflix and Google and Amazon and
Yep.
all that fun stuff. So,
We'll call them the stream store.
sure. That's what we'll call it. But what I was going to get at is browser wars, really? People are debating between what browser to use again? It's Mozilla
Yeah, 'cause-
Firefox all the way. Duh.
I used Mozilla for such a long time.
I'm using Chrome, so.
Damn. It's not Internet Explorer.
Exactly. Or it's not called Internet Explorer anymore. It's just called Explorer.
It's fair.
True.
What's the other Internet Explorer that's not Internet Explorer?
Safari?
No, the, like, Super Explorer.
Oh, Edge. Microsoft Edge.
Yeah, is that what it is?
I think so. That's the new thing that Microsoft is
Oh,
putting
yeah,
out.
there it is, yeah. Isn't that the upgraded version of Explorer?
I think so, yeah. What's better? Why is it better than Chrome? Like, what's the difference between web browsers anyway? And what's the deal with airline food?
Shut up.
That
No. Bad.
that's how it felt. That's honestly how that line of thought felt. I'm sorry. But the thing I wanted to talk about was there was an article where okay. That's good to know. Thanks for letting us know, Jay. But the article that I had posted, which for some reason I forgot to grab before we started the show, so I don't have the ability to grab it, was an Academy Award person, someone who helps vote. You don't have to stop typing, Jay. I can multitask, I promise. But somebody who helps vote for the Academy Oscar nominations discusses all the snubs from the Oscars and who did and didn't receive nominations, and like the possible reasonings behind it. And I mainly post that kind of to show you the thought process behind what goes to the Oscars. I didn't know if you had read it or not, but that's...
I read it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I had felt. Like, some of the points that she brings up in the article is exactly how I had felt when you had mentioned Adam Sandler for Best Actor in the Oscars. It was that she brings up that this is a very uncharacteristic role of Adam Sandler, and that it basically, when it boils it down, is that sure, it was great, but this could have been a 1 in a million movie. If he does one more that is literally this good, he definitely has the possibility for an Oscar in the future. It's just that because it is so off-brand.
Shouldn't you... My opinion on that, though, is shouldn't you, like, celebrate the 1 in a millions? That shouldn't have happened?
Probably, yes. But this also has a lot to do with the branding of the Oscars.
Because it's a different film.
Like,
It's a unique film.
It is very...
Bitches be complaining about the fact that there's not enough creative new films out there. But then the same bitches, when that new creative films come out, don't be nominating them. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but bitches be crazy.
That's true. But think about it this way. How is it that, like, how would the Oscars be? This is a organization, a group of people that have had years and years of calling, building their name for themselves, being a renowned actor. And then you give Adam Sandler, of course, which has a very good movie, which Uncut Gems was a very good movie. You can give him the Oscar for it, but then he's going to use that Oscar nomination, or that Oscar award, this is what they believe, that he'll just use that award to to get attention to another one of his shitty Netflix movies. Like, he has made a bunch of crap movies.
The Oscars are already in the mud. Let's be real.
That's true. That's why they're not doing hosts anymore. So,
in public opinion, they're already in the mud. Not having a host isn't helping them. They're already in the mud in most public opinion due to the fact that their rating, their choice system doesn't work very well. Because, at least from the popular perspective. Mm-hmm. Because when people do really good films, like, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard only good things about it. Eddie Murphy's...
Dolomite is his name?
Yeah, Dolomite. Which apparently people didn't like how he campaigned for it, because he campaigned too hard.
Yeah, he was being...
Which is such a bullshit answer.
Like, one of the reasons the lady in the article had brought up was the first time he had ever gone back on SNL after 13 years of 35 years of decidedly never being on that show was because he wanted to promote himself for the Oscars a little bit more. And they felt that was very out of taste because, like, if he had, say, for instance, just gone on the show more regularly because it was just something that he had liked to do, and then he started promoting himself on the Oscars, they probably would have liked it more. but because he went on that show just to promote himself a little bit more in his movie, um, it left a sour taste in their mouth. Let's see.
Yeah, but also, shouldn't that show that this movie means a lot to him and campaigning for it that much? To the fact that he's going on a show that he has
Essentially hated.
with reasons that are understandable if you go into the history of SNL.
Mm-hmm.
To put his difference aside to promote a film, he had a passion project of a film that is done phenomenally.
You're getting passionate about it. I can tell. There's a tone in your voice now.
Well, yeah, but because like the film means a lot to him to the point that he's willing to repair a bridge he has left burnt in cinders for 35 years.
That's one opinion of it. That's like, it's either he is going back and rebuilding a bridge because he is very passionate about his art, or it's him decidedly saying, I just need to get as many people to view this as possible and get as many people on there, so I will do whatever
Why not
it takes.
both?
Who knows? It's just the way you see it. Like, and the way the Academy Awards see it is they're snidey bitches sometimes. So
Without a doubt.
conniving
No,
bitches
they
sometimes.
are.
So
No, that's why, again, I hate the award shows.
Mhm.
Because it's just a bunch of this bullshit where he campaigned too hard.
And then what was it? They had mentioned Jennifer Lopez, I think, at one point.
J-Lo, yeah.
Yeah.
Being the fact that, like, well, you know, I didn't see the movie, so I think she just tried too hard in it. You didn't see the fucking movie, bitch.
Yeah, that one. That one I thought was a little silly. That that she was just trying really hard for an Oscar nomination was the explanation for it, and none of them saw the movie because they thought she was just overrated the whole time.
I brought that fact up before, that
Mhm.
they don't even watch some of the films.
That is true.
Like,
I mean, like, we do the same thing sometimes. Like, we won't watch
Yes.
some of the films and then make comparisons to them, but that's also just because I bring them up sometimes. But still,
and usually we're not saying that that film that they did or didn't do was overrated or something like that. Usually if we talk about a film being overrated, it's a film we've watched at one point in our lives. Maybe not on this show, but at one point we've watched it. It's just, they bother me, okay? It's just a bunch of old prissy people who complained about the fact that Adam Sandler and Beyonce joined the Academy. Like, get over yourselves.
Mhm.
You're not that important anymore. Sorry.
I mean, a lot of people. This year was kind of surprising that I didn't hear a lot of hubbub about like all the different shows that were nominated for awards and movies that were nominated for awards. Like all the Netflix movies that were nominated and all the Hulu stuff that was nominated. Though some of those didn't go to theaters, but there wasn't a big hubbub about it this year, like there was last
It's
year.
because they realize that, like, if they don't, they're gonna die.
Well, but it was Steven Spielberg who made that, and he's not going to die if those don't come in.
No, I'm more talking about the fact that the Academy is gonna die out if they don't get with the times, and they take years to get with the times. How long did they complain about Netflix stuff until now when they aren't complaining about it? It took
Exactly.
years.
I mean,
I was in high school when that started.
mhm. You make it sound like you're a lot older than you are.
It's the better part of a decade, Steven.
Since high school, we're not that. I'm just kidding. We're young.
I'm not saying we're not young, but the better part of a decade it took them to finally really get accepting of streaming movies as being movies.
Mm-hmm.
It took them that long. That's all I need to say. Like, let's be real.
I mean, it's because the rules, they made certain rules, and I get that it's stupid that they did look at these because they made the rules and they could easily change them at any point in time. But I'll give them leeway. Only because I've been trained in the tradition, so I like it. I don't mind it. I'm not going to say I necessarily like it, let me rephrase that, but I don't mind the stuff that's already been set. Like, for instance, if we met somebody who was, I'll just say, for lack of a better word, crude, and always kind of blatant, and then we suddenly asked, like, and they asked to join us, we probably wouldn't say yes until we asked them to kind of tone down their voice a little bit, because we'd want them to try to be not necessarily family friendly, but like we're not gonna straddle the lines. Well, we don't want to straddle the lines that often between are we gonna be banned or whatever. So like that's kind of what I'm thinking here. Like there's an image that they're trying to keep up in a way, so they've got these rules and these things that they're trying to follow.
Yeah, but like Eddie Murphy and J-Lo don't exactly diminish that reputation.
I don't know. Eddie Murphy said some stuff on his social media once, and
Everyone has.
I know.
Let's be real.
that was a joke at the Golden Globes from whatever his name was, the host.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. This shit bothers me because it's just like, it's these are three people who, in my opinion, from especially at least one of the films and what I've heard about the other two films, just from hearing about that, I'm like, oh, that sounds like they did a really great job.
Mm-hmm.
These films, they should have some form of recognition for that. I don't know.
I mean, my stepmother essentially thinks that limiting the Oscars and stuff is wrong anyways. Like, why did they only allow 5 votes for some categories and 9 for the movie, like best movie?
We talked about that last week.
Yes, we talked about that last week. But she was going on to say she feels that all of the categories should just have more options. Like, why can't all of them have at least 10 to 12? Because there's a lot of movies that come out every year. A lot of them are good. A lot of them are bad. But there are a lot of movies that come out each and every year. So why is it only limited down to 9? Why did we have to be that selective in what art can be? Which, don't get me wrong, I'm part of the problem. But I like being part of the problem. Because some movies where like we're picky and we're nitpicky, some of them are bad. Like some of them can be considered really boring and outdated. Other times they can help spot some really good movies. Like I probably myself never would have considered watching Little Women until I heard about it in these award shows. Now I'm kind of tempted. I probably never would have heard of Two Popes, which is a Netflix original. That's a movie I want to watch now. But these are all brought up because of the award shows.
Okay. How have I heard of these films more than you have?
Because I don't look into this stuff.
I don't either. It just ends up in my feeds, in my stuff.
I don't do that kind
I
of
don't have to look for it.
Like, I spend... Well, it's changed now because I'm no longer at work and I'm no longer really editing much anymore. But most of my days were working on stuff to do. Like, and... Sure, I guess now I could look into this stuff more, but... Like, I maybe spend most of my time on YouTube. And just having things in the background. Kind of not really focusing on much.
Fair.
Like, these are just stuff, like, movies that I would never have considered to watch. Only because they don't really fit what I would have thought of a movie that I would enjoy to see. But based off of reactions, sounds like a good idea to watch these movies. So, I don't want... That's my answer. I don't listen to reviews often.
I don't either.
I don't know. I got nothing else. I got
Fair
no
enough.
other news other than what we're watching next week. You got anything?
Nope.
Alright. So next
Fuck
week.
the Oscars.
Next week. Still never made a poster for it. I'll have one made for February, maybe, if we plan ahead. But next week, we are doing the Doolittles. So we're watching the new Doolittle with, name I'm forgetting.
Robert Downey Jr.
Thank you. It's so iconic, but I blank names all the time. And then we have, Doolittle from 1996 with Eddie Murphy. I think it was 96 or 97. One of those two. It was early. Early in my life. So, we're going to watch those two movies, see how they compare. I hear that Doolittle, the new one, could be compared to Cats in some way.
That's worrying.
A little bit. I'm confused in how a movie can be that bad. I mean, there is a dragon, and it's Doolittle, which makes no sense to me. But
There's no dragon?
there's a dragon.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I found that out on Twitter one day, where someone like posted a meme of a dragon, and it was Robert Downey Jr. with his animals, and I was like, "What?"
Spoiler?
You're welcome.
Fuck, man.
It was in the movie trailers.
I don't watch every trailer.
Oh, do we have a trailer for this week or?
No,
No.
I would have presented it beforehand.
Okay, just making sure.
I'm pretty sure the next trailer that'll come out is going to be the Fast 9, so get ready.
All right, fine. So yeah, next week we're doing the first Doolittle with Eddie Murphy, and then we're doing Doolittle with Robbie Downey Jr. We thought about doing the Doolittle from like 1965, but that was just too much. So, I mean, I've got nothing else here. Jay, do you have any questions? Any at all? Anything, buddy? Before we go and end our show today? Because I feel like we're just good to start wrapping this up. Yeah. So yeah. Alright. I feel we're good. So I guess thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed what we put on today. If you did, give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, ring that bell, all that fun stuff. Check us out on YouTube where we upload our VODs. Follow us on Twitter where we post things sometimes if I'm on the right account or not on the right account. Join our Discord because, you know, we have that and we'd love to talk to you guys. And then, yeah, check us out every day of the week except for Fridays where we put on a really cool show. Yeah. I was Srekcuf. That guy over there is Dev. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll see you guys next week with our Doolittle movies. Until then.
Yeah.